Hi again. Edmond Gruss in the Jehovah's Witnesses and Prophetic Speculation. This is part 9. More speculation about 1975. Last time we looked at Fred Franz's talk in Los Angeles earlier in that year and his caution, a caution that amounted to really just, well, Adam and Eve, where they were separated. They were separated creations. So there's some degree of uncertainty about that. Here's more speculation as the date came. In response to the question, what happened to previous predictions concerning 1975, the dedicated witness today will usually deny that anything definite was predicted or believed. Witness Jim Height is quoted in the February 14, 1975 Los Angeles Times as saying that, quote, it was only the immature brothers and sisters, reading between the lines, who felt that Armageddon was definitely predicted for 1975, end of quote. From the available evidence, it would seem that a great number of witnesses were immature, and that these were the ones who contacted potential converts and talked with evangelical Christians. They also seem to be the ones who were frequently quoted in the news media. John Dart reported that the Brooklyn headquartered Watchtower Society, burned by past erroneous prophecies, maintains that it never has said flatly that 1975 was going to be it, and then concluded, but in fact the Society has left its followers little else to conclude. As with past erroneous prophecies, the witness leadership is placing blame for inflated hopes and speculation concerning 1975 on the average Jehovah's Witness. In addition to the statements by Height and Franz, the Watchtower of October 15, 1974, claimed that the publications of the Jehovah's Witnesses, quote, have never said that the world's end would come then, unquote, and then added, quote, nevertheless, there has been considerable individual speculation on the matter, unquote. What is not stated is that the source of the individual speculation was the Society and its publications. Contacts with Jehovah's Witnesses and those who have left the movement in the past few years verified the importance that they attached to 1975 and their expectation that Armageddon would take place that year or even before. On 3 occasions during 1974, in contacts from various parts of the United States, that is California, Nevada, and Hawaii, it was learned from teachers and other sources that witness parents were so sure Armageddon would come during 1975 at the latest that they removed their children from school, giving this belief as the reason. Recent conversations with Jehovah's Witnesses have been interesting. When one was asked what had happened to Armageddon, as previously predicted, the answer given was, quote, 1975 is not over yet, end of quote. Another indicated that there was still almost a year available. What did witnesses believe and teach concerning 1975, according to newspaper reports? Here are a few representative articles. Under the headline, Witnesses Give World 5 Years at the Most, the religion editor of the Arizona Republic, August 24, 1969, presented an interview with witness Erroll Burton. And here's some of the interview. Within months, or at the most 5 years, the end of the world as we have known it will occur, and 1,000 years of Jesus will begin. This is the view of the approximately 400,000 members in the United States, the sect calling itself Jehovah's Witnesses. According to Erroll Burton, Paradise Valley Unit of Jehovah's Witnesses, the prediction is based on the estimate that 1975 will mark the end of 6,000 years since the time of Adam and Eve, and that, according to Scripture, is when Armageddon will occur. Gruss goes on, the March 19, 1970 issue of the English newspaper Daily Mail reported the story of how a witness couple, quote, refused permission for their newly born son to have a life-saving blood transfusion, end of quote, but that their refusal was overturned by the magistrates at an emergency court hearing, and the transfusion was given. The parents held those responsible for the transfusion as guilty of a grave sin. The article then went on to state, the couple, who have been witnesses for 2 years, believe that Armageddon, Judgment Day, will come before 1975. They said, If the baby died, he would have been resurrected and reunited with us after Armageddon. The Evening Mail of May 7, 1971, carried an article on the experiences of former witnesses, Mr. and Mrs. Herman Goldvag, who had left the movement in 1969. Mrs. Goldvag explained, quote, "We want to prevent other people from going through the misery we have had. Missionaries are working hard in Birmingham to recruit more into the faith before 1975, the expected date of Armageddon," end of quote. "Witnesses Take the Plunge for Eternity" was the headline of the article, which appeared in the July 25, 1973 Los Angeles Times. Reporter Bella Stumbo covered the story of the baptismal service at the 5-day assembly at Dodger Stadium and interviewed some ladies waiting to be baptized. And here's the quote from the article. "But the plain fact is that doomsday is at hand," said Mrs. McGuire, 26, "and those who haven't been baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses are going to perish. The occasion," she elaborated, "is called Armageddon, and it is prophesied in the Holy Scriptures. By all the best witness reckoning, it's due in 2 to 3 years." End of quote. Reverend Frank Triggs of the Cerritos First Assembly of God Church reported that, quote, "The leader of a Jehovah's Witness congregation in Southern California was so convinced that October 31st, 1974 was the last possible date for Armageddon that he declared he would sell his home for a few dollars on October the 30th. End of quote. The following experience is taken from a written account by Eric Grieshaber and his wife Jean, who resigned from the Jehovah's Witnesses on October 24th, 1974. Here's the quote. "As the time for Armageddon drew closer, the Friends began selling their homes, campers, and motorcycles. Many gave up good-paying jobs and took janitorial work in order to have more time for service. The year 1973 was an exciting one as we prepared for Armageddon. One of our friends who had left the area wrote and asked permission to stay with us in order to ride out Armageddon with the congregation. 2 other families that moved to where the need was greater came back to our congregation to await Armageddon. We all knew that sometime around October 1, 1974, the last year of mankind's 6,000 years of existence on earth would begin, and soon Jesus Christ would take his peaceful rule over the earth." So obviously many viewed it as the countdown began a year before October 1974. That many witnesses did quit their jobs in anticipation of the soon event of Armageddon is verified in the Witnesses' May 1974 issue of Kingdom Ministry. And here's the direct quote from that Kingdom Ministry. "Reports are heard of brothers selling their homes and property and planning to finish out the rest of their days in this old system in the pioneer service. Certainly, this is a fine way to spend the short time remaining before the wicked world's end." And the appendix is not over yet. So more next time. I put in a link to a video we did from the work of Dwayne McNanny, one of the pioneers, as it were, of the ex-witness ministry back in the 1980s and 90s. And from some of his work, we put together a video or two. This particular one is on Forget 1975, the build-up to 1999. The Amos class, as they call themselves, the Amos class doubles down on their prophet claim. See you soon.